for some time, regained his external awareness by the will of the Lord, and came to the shore. He rose from the waters in great transcendental ecstasy and headed for Hulia while loudly chanting the holy names of Krishna. The Muslims who witnessed this were transformed and purified, and then gave up their envy and offered obeisances to the transcendental hero. They considered him to be a Fir, a powerful saint, and they were all delivered from material bondage. After some time, Haridas, smiling and laughing, met the Nawab, the king of Bengal, who stood before Haridas with folded hands, saying, "Now I know for certain that you are a powerful saint, Mahafir, for you are firmly convinced that the Supreme Lord is one. All the so-called yogis and jnanis simply speak big words, but you have actually attained perfection. Oh, sir, I have personally come to meet you. Therefore, please forgive me of all my offenses. You are equal to everyone, both friend and enemy, but there is no one in the three worlds who can understand you. You are free to go wherever you wish. You may stay in a cave on the bank of the Ganges or wherever you desire. Now you may stay wherever you like and do whatever you please." Although the king showed sincere repentance for his sinful behavior and was forgiven by Haridas Thakur, his attempt to give a benediction indicates that he still imagined he had the power to offer Haridas Thakur freedom. In fact, Haridas Thakur was always free to stay wherever he liked and do as he liked. He accepted being captured and tortured as a means to deliver many sinful persons, and set the most sterling example of forbearance and tolerance. Just as Christ allowed himself to be crucified and Hanuman allowed himself to be captured, Haridas Thakur also underwent torture and apparent degradation in order to teach Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's principle of Taro Rapi Sahishnana, of being more tolerant than a tree. Any of the above great souls could have utilized their mystic perfections to escape humiliation and torture, but they accepted such difficulty for the service of the Lord. This is the qualification of a great preacher. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur exhibited tolerance when his Sankirtan party was stoned and when his life was repeatedly threatened. Srila Prabhupada exhibited tolerance when he was gored by a bull while trying to preach, when he fainted in the hot sun of Delhi while trying to distribute his Back to Godhead magazines, when he crossed the ocean on the Jaladuta, suffering agonizing heart attacks, when he lived in the Bowery in a poverty-stricken condition, walking the frozen streets of New York City, and by tolerating the antics of his early followers. Preachers have to tolerate. Otherwise, without tolerance, it is not possible to preach. Because the king apologized with all the sincerity and humility at his command, and further rectified himself by granting Haridas Thakur complete freedom to pursue his devotional activities wherever he liked in his kingdom. Haridas Thakur wholeheartedly excused him and prayed for his deliverance. The Lord clearly agreed, as the king was not destroyed for his offense. Therefore, both Shama, forgiveness, and Anugraha, favor, were granted to the king by Haridas Thakur. After glancing mercifully upon the humbled Muslims, Haridas entered Fulia, loudly chanting, and was greeted by an assembly of Brahmanas. When they saw him, they were filled with happiness, and they began to chant the holy name as Haridas danced in ecstasy. Haridas arrived in this way to benefit the Brahmana community. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur explains, due to narrow-minded sectarianism and social aversion towards devotional service, some so-called Brahmanas did not previously consider it proper to accept Haridas as the spiritual master for awarding the holy names. But now, after hearing about his extraordinary and unlimited powers, all the prestigious Brahmanas accepted him as the giver of the holy names, which are not different from the Lord himself. All of them happily began to respect Haridas. Vrindavan Das Thakur writes, Haridas displayed endless ecstatic transformation like crying, shivering, laughing, falling unconscious, hair standing on end, and roaring. Then, in ecstatic love, Haridas crashed to the ground. Seeing this, the Brahmanas began to float in ecstasy. After a while, when Haridas became pacified, the Brahmanas sat around him. So that concludes this chapter. And then, yeah, this chapter is continued. Tomorrow we'll start with a new section of valuable lessons. So, really, here, the main emphasis is about tolerance, right? I mean, yesterday's section we completed, and that section was talking about Haridas Thakur's complete faith in the chanting of the holy name. No matter what happened to him, he was not going to give up his chanting. And that firm faith and hardships and everything, but that was the highlight of the last section. And this section is all about tolerance. And also, the example is given of Jesus Christ, right? Because even when he came, also, he did everything that he did. Everybody pointed fingers at him, and they crucified him. And what was he doing? Really, he was trying to spread the message of God, but they punished him. They crucified him, and it just went through so much of pain for in order to be in this process. So basically, the message for us from today's section is that this path, Krishna consciousness path, the path of preaching, we have to take some of the difficulties. It is not easy. Like, we cannot think that we can just be in our comfort zone and still things are going to happen, right? We have to really stretch. We have to stretch beyond our comfort zone if we want to please Krishna, if we want to please Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. What does that mean? That may mean like maybe we need to go out in the hot sun when it is still out. I know that we do have the Sankirtan, Kevala Bhakti Prabhu arranges that. Sometimes it is really hot, but we still do it anyways, right? I mean, we don't have snow or ice or anything here, but for us, our friend is our sun and the heat that can come. But anyways, that's just one example. But there's so many other things to right challenges that we have. And we just, if we are in this, if we in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mission, if we are here, the main thing is preaching, chanting of the holy name, Sankirtan, and taking those two out in the world. So there will be difficulties, there will be challenges. Also, Srila Prabhupada's example is given where he went through so many trials and tribulations in order to do the message of Krishna. Also, I was listening to this video where Srila Prabhupada was saying that he would go when he came earlier. 1 month he tried, right, preaching, and he thought that how is he going to even do this, right, in America? Like, how can he even do that? So then he would go back every day to that where the ship was docked. Every day he would go and check when is the next ship leaving. So then they'll say, Swamiji, you are just asking every time, when is the ship going back to India? But you never go. Why are you keeping on asking? Then Prabhupada laughs and he says, I'm just asking because if I cannot do this here, I may have to go back. So I just keep asking. So similarly, like we have so many examples from our acharyas where this path is not easy. Like we cannot, like as I said earlier, we can just think that we can just be totally relaxing and do our own things, and we are going to make Krishna happy. We have to take on some challenges. We have to come out of our box, where we are so comfortable, comfort zone, and then we have to really take on this preaching mission. With that, I'd like to end and